Shalom to you and welcome. In this video, we're going to look at congruent supplements and complements and some theorems that help us do proof faster. Okay, so we call them congruent supplement and congruent complement theorems. Okay, we look at the four of them. If angles are complementary to the same angle, so you have two different angles, but each one of them is supplementary to one same angle, then those two angles are congruent. Or if two angles are supplementary to other two congruent angles, then those two angles are congruent as well. So in this first case, you have three angles. In this, you have four angles. The same thing applies to complementary when they add up to be 90 degrees. Okay, so if you have angle 1 and 3, if angle 1 and 3 are complementary, and angle 3 and 5 are complementary as well, name a pair of congruent angles. So let's draw a quick picture here. Let's say we have this angle here. So this is angle 1 and this is angle 3. And both of them are complementary. It means there's a 90-degree angle here. We can draw a 90-degree angle here. And then we have another angle. Let me maybe draw it in a different color. We have another angle. This angle here, which has angle 3 in it and has angle 5 also. Again, these two angles, let me draw them in red, connect. They are also complementary. If you see those two angles, those two 90-degree angles, both of them have angle 3 in them. See, they have angle 3 in common. So therefore, this is saying when that happens, angle 3 is equal to angle 3. Therefore, angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 5. That's what that theorem is saying. Okay. So in a short form, that's the long sentence in a short form. If two angles are supplements of the same angle, or if two angles are supplements of two congruent angles, then the two angles are congruent. So again, in a picture form, you see angle 1 here is supplementary to angle 2 here, because both of them add up to be 180. They are straight angle. And then we see in this case that angle 1 will be congruent to angle 4, because angle 2 will be congruent to itself. Okay. Next. Okay, so here we're given that angle 5 is supplementary to angle 4 is given, and angle 1 is supplementary to angle 4 also is given. So we're going to prove that theorem in a long way, first of all, before we can use it. Okay, prove the congruent supplement theorem, because that applies to congruent complement theorem also. So since these two are congruent, that means that angle 5 plus angle 4 would equal 180 by the definition of supplementary angles. And likewise, angle 1 plus angle 4 will also equal 180 by the same reason. And so if we substitute, we can keep angle 1 plus angle 4 here, and then we substitute angle 5 plus angle 4 for 180 here, because they are equal. So you're going to equal angle 5 plus angle 4. So that's by substitution. We substituted angle 5 plus angle 4 in place of 180. So the left side of the equation is still the same. And if we notice we have angle 4 on both sides of the equation, we can subtract it. If we subtract, then angle 1 will equal angle 5 by subtraction. We subtracted that angle. And now we can say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. So equal by the definition of congruent. If two angles are, congruent, they are equal. They are congruent. Okay, how about this? Now we can use that theorem now to prove. We don't have to take the long route. So here we are given that angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. Angle 1 is, so if angle 2 is congruent to angle 3, they are congruent. And this angle 1 and 2 are complementary, and angle 3 and 4 are complementary. So we can simply say angle 1 complement to angle 2, and it's given. Likewise, angle 3 complement to angle 4, given. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 3, that is also given. All these three are given. So we have two complement angles, two angles that are complement to two congruent angles. See, angle 3 here and angle 2 here are congruent because this is given that they are congruent. Therefore, angle 1 must be congruent to angle 4. What's our reason? Supplement. Oh, sorry, this is complement. Complement of congruent. Oh my gosh, of congruent angles are congruent. Okay. Complements of congruent angles are congruent. That's a short form of writing that long statement. Complements of congruent angles are congruent. Okay, so 1 and 4 are complements of congruent angles that are 2 and 3. Short. See how short and how sweet that looks. Very helpful. So let's do another one. So diagram as shown. So we do diagram as shown, and it's given. So and based on that diagram, we know that we can assume straight angles. Okay, our angle RQS is a straight angle. Based on the fact that it's a straight angle, we know that angle 5 is supplementary to angle 6. Okay. Okay, assume straight angle from diagram. And likewise, angle 7 is supplementary to angle 8 because it's this for the same reason. And based on that, and it is given that angle 6 is congruent to angle 7. That is given. And based on that, we know we have two supplementary angles, two angles that are supplementary to two congruent angles. We have 6. Again, let me mark them in black here. So we have angle 6 and angle 7. They are congruent and they are supplement of two other angles. So therefore, those angles must be congruent. So angle 5 is congruent to angle 8. Angle 8. And what's our reason again? Supplement of congruent angles are congruent. Okay? So, but you got to memorize those theorems. You got to memorize them. Once you memorize them, it's very easy, makes proof very easy and short and sweet. All right, so let's solve problems. PQ, segment PQ is perpendicular. So PQ is perpendicular to QR. So it means there's a 90-degree angle. It means we can add these two angles and get 90. So we set them equal to 90. X squared plus 12 plus 43 minus 2x equals 90. Hey, the clue that we have quadratic, x raised to the power 2, shows that we are going to have a quadratic, this is a quadratic form problem. So we are going to set everything equal to 0, but let's add these two together first of all. Plus 55 minus 2x equals 90. Now we can subtract 90 from both sides. Subtract from like terms though. So if we have x squared, we can shift to this way, and then we subtract this, we get minus. So that minus 90 would give negative 35 equals 0. And now what two numbers can we multiply and get negative 35, and we add them and get negative 2? Those two numbers will be negative 7 and positive 5. Again, so we add the 5 equals 0. So x minus 7 equals 0, or x plus 5 equals 0. Therefore, add 7 to both sides, x would equal 7, and subtract 7 from both sides, x would equal negative 5. So those are the two possible solutions for that quadratic. And here we are asked to find the measure of PQS. So the measure of PQS is going to be PQS, just this angle, that one. So it's x squared plus 12. So we're going to plug in both of them. When x is 7, it's 7 squared plus 12, which is 49 plus 12. And that is 61. And then we do the other one. How about when it is negative 5? Okay, make sure you put the negative into parentheses because you're squaring everything. Otherwise, you get negative. So negative 5 times negative 5 will be positive 25 plus 12. Okay. So that is 37. So those are the two possible measure of that angle. Of course, it's a measure of angle, so it's going to be in degree. All right, let's see if we can do one more. The ratio of an angle to its supplement is 3 to 7. Find the measure of its complement. So we need the angle, we need the supplement of the angle, we need the complement. So let the angle be x. Complement of the angle would be 90 minus x. And supplement of that angle would be 180 minus x. Okay, and now we are ready to set up an equation. Your first step, setting out an equation to find what that x is before we can solve the problem. So since we are given the ratio, we can write this ratio as a fraction. So it's the angle, measure of the angle over the supplement, because that's what we are given here, angle to supplement. So angle to supplement, it's going to be what? Angle is x, supplement is 180 minus x. Again, keep it in parentheses as a bunch. And then the ratio of the angle, when angle is 3, the supplement will be 7. So we have a ratio here, we have proportion, two proportion, we can cross multiply them. Okay, so we can cross multiply that. 7 times x, which is 7x, equals 3 times 180 minus x. Here we have an equation. We have an equation. So now, so we're going to keep the left side and distribute this. 3 times 180 is 540, and 3 times negative x is negative 3x. Now we can go ahead and add 3x to both sides, and we get 10x equals 5, 4.